Hey everyone, it's Marianne from the New York City Organization of Public Service Retirees. I want to do a little video today about dissension in the union ranks. I want to bring you up to speed about why we're here. And today I received a voicemail from Eva Latham Day, a retired UFT Unity chapter member, and I want to address her concerns. And I think it's important to answer people's concerns. So let's start with that, give her a little education, and then hopefully that will have answered all of her questions. So let's start.
Understand why you always talk about the teachers union and what our representative is doing. What about the firemen? They don't count. The police officers don't count. The retired corrections officers. What about their union heads? I never hear you talking about them. It's always Mulgru, Mulgru. Get them off your brain already. It's just and look, and a lot of us teachers are getting upset about it. We're really talking about it because we don't call anybody else out. Just Mulgru. And there are other unions that are involved with the MLC, not just the teachers.
So, Eva, let's start with that. You see, Michael Mulgrew, your union representative, he initiated this problem. He orchestrated it. He pushed it. He sold it. He lied about it. He convinced all the other unions to do this. He lied to all of them. He lied to you. He lied to us. He lied to the elected. We have an entire page on our website called Debunking Bullshit because of him. The union leaders today are upset with Michael Mulgrew because he dragged them all into this in 2014. You got your raise, my dear, on this issue. If you were still on the job in 2014 and 15, you benefited from that. And if not, your brothers and sisters did. The reason why we keep going back to Mulgrew is because he initiated, for the first time in labor history in the city of New York, he negotiated a contract that was partially funded on the backs of all other union members and retirees. And then he lied to everybody. He also pushed for the Medicare Advantage plan. And because the MLC has this weighted voting structure where every union has one vote for every 250 members, Michael Mulgrew has the largest weighted vote in the MLC. So basically, if Michael Mulgrew, UFT, and DC 37 want to do something with the chair of the MLC, Harry Nispoli, it's done. It doesn't matter what the other 100 unions want. The cops, the firefighters, the corrections officers, they have nowhere near the numbers that teachers and DC 37 do. They have nowhere near the numbers of the United Federation of Teachers. You have the largest weighted voting block of about a third of the members of the workforce. You do, which is why we keep bringing it back to Mulgrew. He initiated it. He orchestrated it. He started this in 2014. He dragged all these other unions in there. And then 3 years later, this past Sunday, he walks back his support, leaving everybody else in the hole he dug. You want to know why we call out Mulgrew? Because he did this. He passed cost on to you. You want to know why you could only use certain programs, certain networks of doctors for radiology and for urgent care? Why you have more copays on your plan and more prior authorizations and you get denied more care? That's because he led that initiative in the MLC to give a savings back to the city of New York. That he likes to tell the teachers he didn't do the copays, but he sure enough did. He initiated the copays, and we have him saying that in a meeting. And it's also in our court cases where the Unity chapter is blaming Emblem did it. No, according to the 1992 MLC agreement, no party, not the city of New York or the MLC, can take a unilateral change, make any unilateral change in healthcare. It has to be negotiated. So the city couldn't have imposed copays or narrowed your networks or done anything else to you unless the MLC agreed. And knowing that the UFT and DC 37 can basically pass a 2/3 motion all on their own, that's why we keep wearing Mr. Mulgrew's face in saying he did this. I wear that well, and I wear that badge with pride, Eva, because we fought a bully. You, however, are still blinded by the bully. The Unity chapter needs to wake up. Your loyal, fearless leader lied to all of you. You're not paying attention. It's not that we hate him. He lied to you. He took our health benefits away to fund the active workers. He used Unity members to testify to a city council to change a law that's been in place for almost 60 years. A law that protects everyone equally. And he put them on stage to testify. You changed that law because my union leader said it should be changed so I could have choice. I'll pay for my health care. But meanwhile, the choice that you had allowed you to have a choice of healthcare plans at no cost because you already paid for it. You shouldn't be advocating to pay for something you already paid for. And you probably make a higher pension than most of us. You probably could afford to pay for your healthcare. We can't. So what he did was he wanted you to be able to testify to change the administrative code that gave us equality in healthcare. Equality, equal access. Knowing that those who had more money would be able to pay for privatized, would be able to pay for Medicare, and those who didn't got stuck in the privatized Medicare alternative. He just created a two-tier healthcare system within the city of New York. He took $1 billion out of the Health Stabilization Fund that paid for premiums for under 65 retirees and the active workers, and he gave it to the city to pay off his 2014 contract to put towards that year's collective bargaining. That's why, Eva. And today, if I tell you how many angry phone calls and emails I got from union leaders that Mulgrew dragged them all into this and misled them as to what they were agreeing to. And of course, he did it to the union, the United Federation of Teachers, that ratified that contract in 2014. He had them ratify that contract without ever showing them what Appendix B was in your union contract. Healthcare savings remain premium free, according to the MLC agreement, as noted in Appendix B. What's Appendix B? When everyone asked for it, it wasn't found. But he just urged you to listen and just ratify the contract. And you all did. And then every union, including yours, every member was held to enforcing the rules that were made under this agreement of saving billions of dollars of money for the city, and yet passing that cost and the struggle to access to you. And then in 18, DC 37 did it. And yet they created a plan that required the unions to save $600 million a year recurring without ever saying how it would happen, and then commit to negotiating the active worker healthcare plan and the under 65 plan, and committed to saving 10% from what they had been paying to the city had been paying for you. Then what? How do you reduce the cost to the city, Eva, by 10%? Plus $600 million annually recurring in perpetuity without ever saying how? When we've had record inflation of almost 9%. It meant you, somehow, we, you, us, were going to pay for healthcare for the first time since the inception of the city health program. So that's why, Eva, we are always talking about Michael Mulgrew, because he basically imploded the New York City healthcare program for everybody. He used Michael Mulgrew used Henry Garrido, Harry Nespoli, and the rest of the unions to do it. The UFT union attorney is Alan Klinger. He is also the same attorney for the MLC, works for DC 37, CWA, sanitation. He's conflicted. The attorney cannot independently represent the body of the MLC at large because he represents everybody. And why don't I really mention the cops or the firefighters? How about because those are the only unions that basically stood up for us at the end? They voted against doing this. They voted against doing all of those other things that your union started. And when we did our legislation, they supported us. Most of them. Except your union on DC 37, AFL-CIO, came out to stop our bills because they were insistent on stopping what we were doing. We have won 9 times in court, dear Eva. 9, with 2 unanimous appeals decisions. That's 10 judges in 2 courts. We have raised millions of dollars after organizing to pay our legal fees and to keep this organization afloat to protect what your union leader is trying to steal. That's why, Eva, you have my phone number. You're welcome to call me back. And so are your friends. And if you'd like, I'd be willing to host a Zoom call where I could bring up documentation and cite and source everything I've said to you. I don't think your union leader can do that. So get your friends together. Give me a call. Let me know when you'd like to meet. I'll be more than happy to prove everything I've said. And we can. So I think this is an education for you. And I know it'll probably be taking you back. But we wouldn't have gotten this far if we weren't telling you the truth. Trust me, we weren't happy when we found out what our former unions did to us either. Check it out. We're not lying. Michael Mulgrew needs to step down, and so does Henry Garrido, and so does Harry Nespoli. They don't belong in positions of leadership. If they can sell out other unions, they're retirees, and lie to elected officials. Change is coming. And it already started, and we're going to continue it. New York City is a union town, and it better be union proud. It does not claw back benefits from its retired, its widows, its widowers, its 9/11 responders, and the disabled. We are union, and we have a code of honor, and we're not going to allow that to be destroyed by greedy union leaders that will lie to anybody for personal gain. Have a good night, Eva, and take me up on my offer and bring your friends. I'd be glad to speak to you.